Everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to do the last, probably the last piece in our Fire and Ice series. So we're doing the Ice Bracelet. So if you're not familiar with the series, we did an earring, we did this pendant in sort of the icy blue colors, and then we did the fire colors here. I'll link these videos in the description box below the video. I think this would be gorgeous in the fire colors as well. So we'll work on this bracelet today, and I just think it came out so pretty. It's a real statement piece. It's, it's a little bit of a challenge, but I think, you'll be really happy if you decide to make it. So without further delay, I'm going to clear this off. We'll get a materials list going and we'll get started on this bracelet. So you need 8mm chatons, and in the materials list, I'm going to link everything in the description box below the video. So sizes, shapes, colors, amounts, and I'm going to list it per component, and that way you can adjust it to how many you'll need. So here we go. Aren't they gorgeous? So pretty. I didn't have all of one color, so I just put a bunch out. And then you'll need some half tealas, and that's all I have left. So I'll put amounts in the description box below the video. You'll need a 3mm round bead and a 2. So a 2 and a 3. Well, you can use a little druck here. You can use a pearl. You don't need that many of these, but I just put them out so you can see the colors and the size and such. You'll need some 11-0 seed beads and 15-0 in the metallic. They're pretty. I love using this light bronze again. We used to use this all the time. We haven't used it in a while. So really pretty. Love those. We've got a Delica. I'm doing that in the light bronze as well. We've got we've got an 11-0 in this gorgeous silver. This is if you want to do the colors I'm doing. I'm going to list just the colors that I made on the video and the fire colors. So here we've got this beautiful matte silver 11-0, matte silver 15-0, 2 of these toggle clasps, and I'll get the size of this and make sure that it's in the description box. And you'll need some jump rings, and these are 4mm jump rings. Again, everything will be listed. Okay, thread wise, now I use 6 pound for the entire thing. I use the thermally fused tough fire line. However, what you can do is make all your units in the 6 pound and then sew them together with the 4 pound, which I think would be really good because there's a lot of thread going through these, so you just want to make sure you're not going to get stuck. I didn't get stuck terribly. I mean, there were times when I had to kind of maneuver a little bit, but you could have the 4 pound handy, and if that works for you, that would be great. So have these two, and then I have a little cushion with all different needle sizes. I used an 11. You can have a 12 handy as well. Got a little stop bead. I think that's everything. Again, everything is listed, sizes, shape, colors, everything in the description box below the video to both colors. All right, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 2 feet of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave enough of a tail to sew in. So I picked up and dropped down to my stop bead, a half tila and 2 11-0s, and I did that 4 times. So if you notice on the tila, or half tila, there are 2 sides. So one side is, maybe you can see better that way. See, one side is more flat here, and this one kind of rounds out, so that's the top. I just put them on when I start the same way all the time. I just pick them up. It doesn't matter if they're, but as long as I pick them up the same way, these are picked up from, what is at the bottom, and then I just turn it around and they're all right side up. So just make sure you pick them up the same way all the time in your starting circle, and you'll be good. Okay, I'm going to sew these into a circle by sewing through the first bead after my stop bead, which is this tila, half tila, and the first 11-0. So this is what I have so far. Exiting that first 11-0 after the tila, I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to sew through the next 11-0, half tila, 11-0. And if I call it a tila or a half tila, we're only using half tilas. So if I say tila, I mean half tila. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up another 15-0, exiting here. We're just going to place it right here. Go through the 11-0, half tila, 11-0. So we're just putting that little 15-0 in between all of the 11-0s. So I'll let you do that 2 more times. Okay, last 15-0 through the 11-0, the Tila, the 11-0, the next 15-0, just want to get past the stop bead a little bit, the next 11-0, and the next Tila. So just like so, this is what it looks like. And then I'm just going to sew through the, I'm coming out of the bottom hole of this Tila, I'm going to sew through the top hole. So this is what I have so far. Okay, next up I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a half Tila, and this is where you want to make sure you're on the right side because I have all my Tilas, you know, right side up. So 11-0, half Tila, 11-0, exiting the top hole of this Tila, and you're going to sew through the top hole of the next half Tila. Just going to do that all the way around. Last 11-0, half Tila, 11-0, I'm going to sew through this half Tila, and I'm just going to keep going. Like so, and as you kind of pull, you see how it makes a little pocket? So you could just go ahead and reinforce all the way around. Okay, so I've reinforced all the way around, and you'll want you to be exiting the top hole of one of the interior Tilas. So right there. So just like that. At this point, I like to just lay my stone in there. It's not going to stay, but I just for, you know, visual purposes. So the stone's in. I'm exiting this top hole of this middle Tila right here. I'm just going to pick up an 11-0, a Delica and 11-0. I'm going to hop over to the next Tila, you know, that interior top hole of the interior Tila. I pull. I'm going to make sure that little group sits right in front. Whoops. And that will probably happen to you too. Kind of sticks to your fingers a little bit. So you'll just be exiting this Tila, and the 11-0, Delica 11-0 is in front of the one that is sticking out, you know, the kind of loose Tila. Let's do that again. 11-0, Delica 11-0. Exiting this interior Tila, I'm going to sew through this one. So the next one in line. Just make sure that pops in front of this Tila right here, so the sort of loose Tila. So you're just going to do that 2 more times. Last 11-0, Delica 11-0. I'm going to sew through the top hole of that next interior Tila. I'm going to make sure that pops in front of the sort of loose one right there. And this is what we have so far. I'm going to advance my needle through the next 11-0, Delica 11-0. Just like that. This is what we have so far. We're going to pick up 2 15-0s. I'm exiting this 11-0 at the end of this 11-0, Delica 11-0. I'm just going to sew through the next 11-0, Delica 11-0. Like that. 2 15-0s through the next 11-0, Delica 11-0. You got it. You're going to do that 2 more times. Okay, last 2 15-0s through the 11-0, Delica 11-0, and then you'll reinforce this all the way around. Reinforced all the way around. I actually went around twice because I just had the space in there to do so, just like that. So I'm exiting one of the groups of 11-0, Delica 11-0. I'm just going to hop over to this 11-0, right above it, the Tila, or half Tila, the 11-0, Delica, and 11-0. I kind of reverse direction there, just to kind of get myself started for the next round. This is what it looks like so far. Next up, I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s. I'm exiting this 11-0 here, the matte silver one. I'm going to sew through the top hole of this Tila. I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s, and I'm going to sew through the 11-0, Delica 11-0, just like that. Actually, you can sew your tail thread in at any time. going to pick up 2 11-0s, exiting this silver 11-0. I'm going to sew through the top hole of the tila, 2 11-0s. I'm going to sew through the 11-0 tila and 11-0. Do that 2 more times. Last 2 11-0s. Exiting the top hole of this tila, I'm going to sew through the 11-0 tila, 11-0, like so. Just like that. One more round. 15-0, 2mm round bead or pearl, and a 15-0. Exiting this silver, the matte silver 11-0. I'm going to sew through the next 11-0 tila, 11-0. And just like that. Just going to do that all the way around. 15-0, 2mm round bead, and a 15-0. With my tail thread, I should sew that in. Exiting right here. Just going to sew through the next group. Just like so. Just going to do that 2 more times. Okay, last 15-0, 2mm round 15-0. I'm going to sew through the 11-0 tila 11-0, just like we've been doing. So just like so. Okay, we've got our first unit done, and I thought, wouldn't that be a pretty ring? So we might, who knows, we might add a ring on it, maybe too much. But anyway, here's our first unit. So if you know, depending on whether you're doing a the single or double bracelet, you're just going to make your, enough of your units to make the length of your bracelet without the clasp. So I think I'll have 7 or 8 of these for just a single. So if you're going to do a double, you need to just double that amount. All right, so have fun. Think about the ring. I'll see you back here when you have your units done. Okay, just a note here, because this is a piece I'm working on. I alternated colors, right? So if you have 8, you'll need 8 one color and 8 of the other color of your chatons, or just use all the same color. I'm so excited. So threaded my needle with about 2 feet of thread, put on a stop bead, and I left enough of a tail to sew in. So I've sewn through these 2 11-0s, these 3 right here, the 11-0, half tila 11-0, and these 2 11-0s. I put on an 11-0, and then I've sewn down through these 2 with the same beads on this unit. So these 2, the 11-0, half tila 11-0, and then these 2, and then I've picked up another 11-0 like that, and I'm going around again. So I'll just start with going through these 2 11-0s. That's going to be our connection, and we're just going to go around and make those little point beads stick up. So if we've sewn through these 2, I'm going to sew through the 11-0, half tila 11-0, through these 2 again. Now they look like they do kind of pop up without doing this, but I just like to make sure they stay in place. So I'm exiting these 2. I'm going to skip the one that I put on. I'm going to sew down through these 2. I'm just going to pull and make sure that that pops up like so. Then I'm going to sew down through the same beads on this side. So these 3 right there in the middle. And it's kind of coming apart a little bit because my tail thread is a little loose, but I'll pull it together. There we go. Okay, so it makes that bead pop up like that. And then you're just going to continue down through these 2, like so. And then I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to sew through the next 2. So we're making this side pop up now, like that. Back down through these 3. So here you'll be exiting the that matte silver bead here. Now I'm not going to go up. I'm going to go right across through this half tila. So just kind of get your needle in there and you'll get right through. Just maneuver it a little bit. So you're exiting, you're going through here, just moving the thread over to add some more beads. And then down. These two 11-ohs here. I'm just trying to find a good route to add, you know, some more units on. So like that. So this is how it looks so far. Okay, we're going to add on another unit. However, if you, let's say you wanted to make a single, you can just keep adding units on and the clasp will be the same. So you can just keep going in that direction, but we're going to add another unit right here and then one here to get our double going. Okay, let's add another unit on. So I have some alternating. So here I'm going to put a blue one here. Oh, this beautiful teal, I mean. And so you were exiting these two 11-ohs here. So I'm doing the same thing, adding an 11-oh, sewing through these two, sewing through these three here, and then these two. I'm going to pick up another 11-oh. I'm going to sew through the two on this side. So I'm just going to have to move it a little bit. So like that. So you see now I have this next unit on, and then you're just going to go around and make this one stick out and this one stick out. So I'll let you do that, and then we'll continue on to another unit. Last unit to make the, you know, to start our double. So you're exiting right here, these two. Here's my last unit, like that. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing I've been doing. I'm going to sew through picking up an 11-oh, sewing through the two right there. And then, let's see if I can do this. Here, I'll turn it this way a little bit. And then through these three, just like we've been doing, like that. And then through these two, right there. Adding our 11-oh. I'm going to sew through the two on the other side, like that. Then you want to go ahead and pop up your beads. So we're going to go back through these three and this side, like that. Through these two, right there. Skipping this middle one, and going around again. Make that pop up. Back down through these guys. Through these two. Skipping this one, sewing through these two, popping up, back down. It's the last time you have to go through these. And really, honestly, it's not really that tight in there. I mean, I'm not where I wouldn't want to go through again, but I think that's good. And then these two, we just want to get over to the other side. Like so. And then skip that one. Sew through these two. Now we're just moving over at this point. Make sure I'm not caught, like so. And then, just like we did before, we're going to go right through that tila, like that. I know this is a little crazy. And then through these two, like so. And then you're just going to complete your last section right here, and I'll let you go. Okay, so I have my last section on. So, you know, I put it on, I went around, then I made everybody pop up, right? And so here, after this one has popped up here, I've come down these two, and I lied. You have to go through these one more time. So, you know, you've popped everything up, coming through these two. I'm going to go down these one more time. Just change your needle size if you need to. Actually, I made it through like that. And then through these two. Make sure I'm in frame here. Like so. And then through this one point bead right here. Okay, so now I'm just going to complete the inner part right here. So you're exiting one of the point beads, and honestly, if you can't get through these, I think you should be able to, but if you can't, you can always end it off and just do this separately, but I just maneuvered my needle around, so I'm coming out of that point bead. I'm going to pick up 2 15-ohs, and I'm going to sew through the next point bead right here. I'm going to pick up 2 15-ohs. I'm going to sew through the next point bead. So we're sort of making that interior triangle. So I'm connecting all the negative space there. 2 15-ohs through the next point bead. 2 15-ohs. This one again, so your original one. Like so. And what you can do here to kind of really straighten everything out is you can sew through the next 2 15-ohs. You can skip the point bead, sew through the next 2 15-ohs, like so. Skip the next point bead. You got it. Through the next 2. Like so. Skip the point. Through the next 2. So you're reinforcing this, and you're sort of, see how when you do that, how it really makes it into a very pretty, whoops, really very pretty sort of diamond. And it's sort of, if you look at the negative space, so it's sort of going like around here, and then through here, and through here, and then through here, kind of like that. So here you go. So this is what we have, and this is what you're going, so you're going to sew this thread in now. So what you're going to do is you're just going to repeat adding units on all the way down the line until it starts to look like this. And just get enough units and keep putting it around your wrist until it, you know, you have just enough space for your clasp. You can extend a little bit if you need to. All right, so have fun, and I'll see you back here in a little bit. You know, you can do a little at a time, like do this group right here. I mean, it's much longer when I do it on the video because I'm trying to instruct, so it takes me much longer. But really, one of these units, just after you get going, takes maybe 10 minutes, not even that. So you can just, you know, get 4 of them done all together, and then just keep going on. Keep adding on. All right, so have fun. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so I have all my pieces together. That's what it looks like. I think it really came out pretty. I mean, I just think it's a forever piece, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to go for the clasp now. So this is where we're going. I've already put on 3 of them, so we're doing a double toggle because you're going to put them on the same exact way each time. So the first thing you want to do is add a jump ring to your toggle ring. See that? And then you want to add 3 jump rings to your toggle bar. Straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Like so. So you're going to add about 1.5 feet of thread to your needle. Put on a stop bead, leave a tail to sew in. So I've come up through these 2, the 3, you know, the 11-0, half teal 11-0, and then these 2. Put on a 3mm round bead pearl. You can even use a fire polish, but I think to fit in with the theme, we've got this little 2mm, I think a 3mm pearl, or round bead looks pretty there in the same color or similar color. So I'm going to come through the last ring on the toggle bar right here, or the ring on the toggle ring itself, picking up my 3mm, the other 3mm, popping through just like that. And then you're just going to sew all the way around and reinforce. And you're going to do the same exact thing on the other side for all 4 pieces. So sew around, reinforce, and then finish your other 3, and we're back and we're done. And I love how it came out. I think it's so pretty, and I love like sort of that negative space in there. So sometimes when you look at the bracelet, depending on how close or far away you are, you'll see that sort of flower negative space here, and then when you look at it maybe more close up, you see more of the chatons. I don't know. I just think I'm just really happy with it. I hope you are too. So here's of course the bracelet. Oh, and I just wanted to say that with the clasp, exactly the way I made it, it is exactly 7 inches. So that worked out really well. Here's the earring. Here's the pendant if you want to go a little crazy. And here it is in the fire colorway, which I think would be so pretty. This would be just gorgeous in these colors. You can kind of get an idea of what it would look like. All right, so I want to thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye.